Hey everyone, GeForce 41 here with a really interesting casual preview for you. This one is going to be absolutely fantastic. Where are we? We are at the Lido, the recreation by Hickory Ghost of the Lost Course, the famous Lost Course of CB MacDonald and Seth Rayner, and it is absolutely amazing. This course has been out there for some time, but I just revisited it finally. It was on my to-do list, and I was reminded, thank you, early 1981, for your video playthrough of this course that inspired me to get out there and check this one out. This is a super special casual preview. A couple of reasons. This is no ordinary recreation of a course. So if you don't know the history here, the Lido is a lost course. It existed on the South Shore of Long Island in the early 1900s, and it is lost to time for various reasons, including, I think, what wound up happening. It was taken over by the Navy and used as an airfield during World War II. And, well, folks, Hickory Ghost, his name is Peter, has recreated this thing from historical records, pictures, photos, and newspapers. His name is Peter Flory. I don't know the gentleman, but Peter was so meticulous with this recreation, and I'll just scan around a little bit for you, that he actually was involved in the redesign of this course in real life. In other words, in Nicosia, Wisconsin, the course now exists as an exact replica. So there is an actual course designed to meet the actual specifications for real of this course. And he, the designer of this course on PGA Tour 2K23, Peter was involved in that effort, in that project, because he was so into it. So it takes a lot of time and diligent effort to research any sort of course like that that's been lost. So hats off to him. Why do I know this? I'm doing a similar thing right now. I am trying to recreate a semi-lost Donald Ross course. And more on this. Hopefully I get to some of that in this discussion. But let's talk about the Lido today, and why it's super cool. So this will be a casual big weekender, the week of week 5, which is the week of 318, which means Friday 322, Saturday the 23rd, Sunday the 24th. This will be the big weekender. Normally, folks, we do not use courses without crowds. We have big weekenders that are tee ready for you on purpose. This one has some crowd noises on various holes, usually around kind of the beginning of both the nines and the end. But there are no crowds. So we had a special executive committee exception for this course as a one-time exception for a big weekender with really no crowds, just some crowd noises. We won't do that often. We want to keep it tournament ready for you and exciting. So I'm going to go over the settings real quick, just so you know which version of this course is out there, right? And then we will get right to the golf. All right, here we go. Okay, real quick on the settings, I just want you to see which version it is. It is Lido V1 Hickory Ghost. Make sure you get the right one. We are going to play the course from the back tees, which are the blacks. Those are playing at 7,436 yards. We are going with a wind speed of medium, and the wind direction is important. It is blowing to the east. In the design of this course, it was very important. Most of these holes run north and south. It was along the beach, as you can imagine, on the South Shore of Long Island, and so it was very important to have that direction correct. So I believe wind direction east is going to bring that crosswind across those north-south courses, such as the first hole. Everything else is default, and leave the crowds on. There's some crowd noises, but you'll see no crowds. Okay, that's what we're going to do. So let's get off to the golf course, folks. Right to the golf. All right, first hole. Here we go. So you will see you will see a lot of template holes in this course. You might not be surprised if you know anything about CB MacDonald. Here's the first hole. We'll take a look in a second. Let's just check that wind. The wind is going across, just as I had hoped for. And so here you go. Now the first hole is not a template, but think about it, I've said this in a number of my videos. You want that first hole to give you a taste of what you're in store for. What's going to follow in the next 18 holes, I should say, or the following 17 holes. And this does that. You've got a shared fairway, you've got the dune bunkering, you've got a beautiful view, you've got a huge green. These greens are huge. Take a look at that. So if you like contours that are not, it's moving, but they're not by any means unfair or unplayable. It's crafted just absolutely meticulously. Huge greens. A lot of these are infinity greens, as is the first one. You'll see it'll look a little better when I get up there. But a shared fairway, and this one shares a fairway with 10. So that's 10. We'll take one more look over there. That's the 10th fairway. Okay. So there's lots of interesting options here and ways to play. And I've told you that before. Keep the options open. Keep it interesting. Don't just pinch at 300 and take driver out of your hands. Well, this certainly doesn't do it. This is an absolute masterpiece. So you'll see a lot of holes that are templates, some are not, and all these holes have various ways of playing it, and it's just super interesting. That's why I wanted, for the big weekender, I wanted you to get the value of 3 rounds and playing different hole location, different winds. Maybe we'll even mix up the tee boxes for once. I'll talk to Eraser Gibb and see what we can do. So big, huge bunkers. And it's just a really, really interesting course. So I'm happy we're bringing this one to you. Again, it's been out there for a bit, so it's not a new course. Oh, I really killed that. I thought, you know what I did? I thought I was in the heavy rough. I was in the light rough. Overclubbed. It is not easy to chat, I've told you before, and play. But this one has so much going on. I actually have notes in front of me for the first time. I will usually wing it, folks, as you might not be a surprise to anybody. Not winging it this time. I've got notes. I've reviewed the course and detailed what each hole is all about, which template it is, so I can give you some great information on golf architecture and PGA Tour 2K23 design tips, which we are all about here, right? Okay. Second hole is the first template hole. This is a double plateau hole. You can see the 2 plateaus there, left and right and the back. And so usually there's in a double plateau, there's technically 3 plateaus. There's 3 sections. There's 2 plateaus and then the shorter plateau, or I should say lower plateau in the front. Usually it's kind of L-shaped, but the cool thing about templates is there's all sorts of different ways and means and variations and way to interpret them and bring them into your design. So this is a really cool one with an absolutely enormous green. They usually play as long 4s, about 480. You can see this one's 479. And they're meant to be one of the harder par 4s on the course. So with this wind, it's actually coming in at us a little bit, which is good. It's going to make it play a little harder, so you get a feel for that. You want to be out to the right side with that hole location. But with the other hole locations, you might want to be on a different side of these huge fairways. And that's the cool part of these holes. It's going to play different with different hole locations, okay? Another shared fairway, I forgot to call that out. Maybe I'll put a graphic in there. Okay, then we got a better look at the sections of the green. This is why I chose the one location for the video. I think that's 4 over on this plateau. Pretty interesting. And that's the 11th green off to the left. So you see this combination of shared fairways, greens right next to each other. Just absolute beautiful visuals. Deep bunkering, like I said, but the other feature prominently in double plateaus are principal nose bunkers. And there you go, you got one. That almost looks like a frowny face or a scared face or something. But very classic stuff. I love these holes. I have one on Carthwick. What number was it? 13, 14, something like that. Not even close to as good as this one. It was my first attempt at a double plateau. But pretty neat stuff. So you'll see the next couple holes are... Oh, look at this putt. Our template holes. Just beautiful visuals. Stunning. And can you imagine this in real life at the beach? Must have been absolutely spectacular. And it was meant to be one of the toughest tests of golf in the world. It was one of the top, I don't know, 5 courses or so at the time. World renowned. Such a shame it was lost. Um, Here we go. Third hole, first par 3. This is an Eden hole, folks. We've talked about Edens before. They are about 175-ish yards. You'll see they slope back to front. You got that going too, right? So far, classic. And they're denoted by a series of bunkers that have names. The hill bunker, which is here. The Strath bunker in front, which is usually a pot bunker. They've got 2 in this one. And then the Shelley bunker, which is the front one. That's usually a few yards in front of it, shorting the green. That's short for Cuckle Shell. And then there's the Eden bunker in the back where it gets its name, and there is water behind this one. So this comes from the 11th at St. Andrews, where there is water behind that one. So you don't see a lot of them with water behind them, but this one certainly does have it. I did have water behind one of mine. It was Taconic State Park Blue, the 3rd hole. I put some water behind mine. So very classic template. You'll see a lot of holes that are like this around. If you're not familiar with this kind of stuff, take a look. Whenever you see a 175-yard hole like this, chances are it might have been influenced by the Eden template. There's a series of bunkers around it similar. And again, with the templates, you don't have to be exact. Hey, that's a pretty good shot. So the putting could be a challenge if you're high on these holes, right? Because you're always going downhill, back to front. Next, we're going to move on to the first par 5. Okay, this one's called the Channel Hole. Not a template. Look at that bridge. Isn't that a beautiful view? Nicely done bridge. Absolutely gorgeous light work. The dune bunkering is excellent. Really great stuff. So just a great environment. Now what's cool about this hole is, ta-da, the 2 fairways. Okay, so you've got an option here. You've got carry over to this kind of island fairway kind of thing over here, and then you'd have a straight shot in. So you can play this hole straight at it onto this section, and then a heroic carry over that huge bunker in the front. We'll take another look. And this location is front right. So, might not be the best option today, but this is what's cool about it. Makes you think. I've got the wind in my face. Do I really want to risk this carry? I'm only carrying at 290 these days because that's, power is not what I focus on. I have the archer archetype and I like to shape my shots. Or you could play it down this side, right? So if you're not going to go for it in 2, you could just throw a 3-wood down there and then lay up into that that kind of layup fair. I can't get over there because I can't pan here on PlayStation. But you've got that stretch of fairway off to the left on the other side of the bridge where you could lay up to. For today, with the wind in my face, I can hit driver and not run out of fairway. So I'm going to shape it and just throw a little nice simple driver out on the left side of the fairway, bring it back in, and roll it up there as close as I can. But you can see how there are options, right? If you had the wind, if you don't want to go to that island fairway, you could just, and you had the wind behind your back, you could hit a 3-wood and get it down there enough. And now, obviously, in this wind, we're going to have a little trouble getting there. But we're going to up it to the 3-wood. I think we should be fine because we do have some landing area after that bunker. But you see how it makes you think? Cool stuff, okay? And I pushed it. But that's going to be safe and just short right. Not horrible. Cool hole, huh? Short game is going to be certainly treacherous. So this course does exist in a newly recreated form in Wisconsin. So if you're in that area, take a look. Oh, that was a terrible putt. I am not. I wish I was. Wisconsin's got some great golf. That is for sure. Okay, the 5th hole. We are back to template land here, folks. This is a Cape hole. Now you're going to say, what? Cape hole? Well, cape holes are usually around water. Think of maybe the 18th at Sawgrass. A lot of the holes you just saw um, at Bay Hill, at the Arnold Palmer. So anything that bends around water, it basically is the Cape template where you kind of have to decide how much you're going to cut off. Right, you can go play safe out to the right. Here, you want to be out to the right and get that view in. Anything off to the left, if you wind up down here, that's a little bit scarier shot, right? The other thing is usually they're surrounded on three sides by bunkers, as this one is. So this one, unique for a Cape, from my point of view, is there's no water. I think that's usually how people see Capes or view them, but not always. So I'm just going to put a simple little 3-wood down there. For this location, that's plenty. That's going to bounce a little that way. A little spin on it. And there you go. So the greens move, but they're not anything crazy. So this is just very playable. Great replay value. This would be a great place for a match. So if you're playing with your buds online and want a great place for a match, this is it. Let me tell you. All right, 6 holes called Dog's Legs. It's just simple. Well, I shouldn't say simple. Obviously, the name isn't particularly creative, but it's just simply Dog's Legs off to the right, and the huge cross bunker up there in front of the green is where one of the key features of it. So we're not even going to get close to that, but that'd be very interesting once you get up there, especially if you play golf the way I do. That would definitely be a bad option to run into if you duff one. But pretty cool stuff. Let me just get it out there. I'm going to talk so much. I don't want this to run super long. So I do want to get just playing on some of these holes. You could talk for a long time on any of them. Okay. So it's another 5. And there you see, now you see that cross bunker, right? So unfortunately, it's hard to demonstrate when you're on PlayStation and can't quite get out there. But you got this huge cross bunker kind of cutting off where you might have to lay up, right? Especially if you don't hit the fairway. So that's what makes it a cool hole. 210 is going to do it with some help from the wind. Or not. Oh no, I slowed it. And that's what the pot bunkers are for. Damn it. It's not going to splash that. I'm going to flop. 33 yards, 40. Put some spin on it. And I fasted it and it didn't do anything. Ooh boy. So you're going to have some they're huge greens. So you're going to find yourself with some really interesting putts if you don't hit the shot correctly. That's for sure. Again, another reason I think it'd be a cool place for a match. All right. On we go. Off to the Hogsback hole. Okay, so Hogsback. We've talked about these before. You always want to make sure you have enough room. I've told you this before when you have a Hogsback, because the goal here, the Hogsback is obviously it's big hump in the middle of the fairway, right? Simply put. But you got to decide which side you're hitting it on, or else you might find yourself running off into the fairway. I'm sorry, to the rough. And then you want to think about what side of the fairway you want to be on, okay? This one's a little bit more punitive than most. This here, I've played this before. If you hit over here, you're toast over here. So it's a little bit more, it's a little less decision and more of a challenge. So, you definitely want to be on the right side, and with this wind, uh, you definitely want to just play it off to the right, let the wind bring it back a little, not mess with it too much. Look at the other key feature. Look at this in the back. You don't see that very often. As a matter of fact, you see that on TGC tours from a new designer. It might not get approved. I used to do that a lot as well. You don't always see that. That is pretty cool, but you do see it sometimes, right? Because think about it. Hey, making your greens look natural. The green's gonna fall off to the water usually. The water's behind the hole. Now, you're not gonna see it that dramatic. Um, on most holes, but that's kind of a unique feature with that little kind of fall off, almost like a bowl in the back. I'm going to have a little, no, the wind is with me, so I'm going to cut that, shape it. Work it in there. I like to shape it. That's why I keep with the archetype that I do use. Get in. Are you kidding? Are you kidding? Great stuff, though, huh? All right. Putting on the Ritz, folks. Biarritz time. Biarritz template you have probably seen or heard of before. Most often you see it as one green. This one, it's fairway, then green. You do see that often as well. Usually, most people know it as kind of like one green that's like this with this valley in the middle. And the whole point was the old days, you're going to play the ball a little bit low, use the ground more than you do these days, especially with the equipment and the balls that they used in those days. And the fun of it was, hit a screamer, watch it go down the valley, disappear, and then pop its head back up, and hopefully it's rolling at that flag. Here we tend to carry everything. I've got the wind at my back today. But this is interesting here. With hybrid's going to be too much, so I got to hit the iron in there. Let's see what happens. But they're usually longer par threes around the 230-ish range, which is what we have today. We have 239, as you see it right there. Cool beach houses. All right, let's see what we got. Right there at that window at the beach house. Oh, and I whiffed. And I'm going to catch the short bunker. Are you kidding? Ooh, I got lucky. It popped out. That is hysterical. Get up there. And that's not going to make it. So I have made a mess of this beautiful hole. Flop that. It's fairway. Check up. There you go. Get out of here with the bogey. That was an oops, folks. All right, let's wrap up the first 9. Leave-in hole. This is a leave-in hole. We've talked about these before because I love these holes. I have a few of them. Carthwick, most recently. What hole number is that? 13, something like that. This one's unique though. Usually you see a leave-in, it's got kind of a cross stream or something like that, breaking the fairway into 2 diagonally. And the strategy is which side do you want to be on? Do you want to try to take the carry? Do you want to take the safe approach? Depends on where the hole is, but the key is a hill front left of the green and a green that falls away from it. So it's kind of strategic, and you could play it and do the carry off to the left, but you're going to have that tougher approach in from the left side, or do you want to be off to the right? This hill isn't very dramatic on this one, but that's an interesting hole location. So we definitely want to be off to the right. So again, it's the strategy that we've talked about often. Angle versus distance. Where do you want to be on the fairway, right? Not, gee, I just don't want to hit it in the water or the bunkers that are pinched at 300 yards. That's a pretty good approach, right? Pretty good tee shot for a fair approach in. That's a little in my face. We're just going to bring it down a smidge and give me some spin. I just pushed it. Stay up. Stay up. There. Nope. Darn it. Pushing everything off to the right. Right is okay in real life, my pro teaches me. If you're just off to the right, that's much better than left. Left is bad. Alright. There's the first 9, folks. The back is just a good. Now one of my favorite templates, the Alps hole. You've seen these before in my videos. This is cool stuff. So the Alps hole is basically characterized by that blind shot into the green. It's a much bigger hill than a leave-in hole. But there you see it, that huge mound in front. It'll make more sense when we're up on the fairway. But the other thing you see is a huge huge bunker in front of the green. It's usually called, it's called the Sahara bunker at the original, which is Prestwick. I'll put up a graphic on that. But here you see that here's an interesting feature. There's a slab of fairway on top of the hill. You don't see that very often. So you have 2 big bunkers and a fairway. The other feature is it's usually a punch bowl green, which is cool because this is sort of a punch bowl, and we have a punch bowl hole coming up, and a couple of holes. So you kind of got a double dose of punch bowl. So if you're a punch bowl fan, this course is for you. Another one off to the right, kind of cutting across it. But there you see the huge hill that basically blocks your view into the hole. It's usually closer. But like I said, templates are cool because you just do what you will with it, right? It's just an idea and a template that you could use your own creativity to make it interesting. That one's going to be pretty good, I think. Just carry a little bit more. Good. Bounce. Check up. Good stuff. Great grass work behind the green there. Just a fun environment, a fun feel. Ugh. Just miss. Not very good at those at real life. Those are the ones that drive me crazy. These little left to righters. About 10 feet. You feel like you can make them, and you almost never do, right? Alright, this is called Lagoon. It's a shared fairway with the 2nd and 17th. So let's take a look at that. So again, I haven't highlighted the shared fairways too much. But there you see the 2nd hole off to the right, 17th off to the left. Again, the unique bunkering. So you have different sections. You can play it off way over here if you really want. Actually, that's not a bad idea with that whole location. And look at that green. Isn't that cool? It's just unbelievable. 17,000 square feet I have in my notes. Wow. I'm just double checking. Yep. Absolutely amazing stuff. So let's see. With this wind, it's coming in my face. I'm not sure if I go over here. I think I just want to be over here. I just don't want to run into that thing. With the wind in my face, that's probably not going to happen. So I don't think that's a bad play. And I'm hitting it right at that thing. It's supposed to go to the right of it. Bounce to the right. There you go. Look at this. Hey, that worked out pretty well. Now we just sneak in there. Oh boy, it's going to be tricky. Slowed it a little, but that actually might help out here. Look at that. Take that. Just beautiful views. Very relaxing. Oh. Just missed the putt. So if you're really a skilled player, this would be amazing if you just ratchet up the firmness and the wind. I haven't tried it yet because as you can tell from my videos, I'm not a super accomplished player. I'm more of into the design and the architecture and all that stuff. All right. 12. Here we go. Punch bowl. So this is the punch bowl I was telling you about. Look at that punch bowl. Oh my God. Um, really cool stuff. So now you've even on the punch bowl you've got a fairway that's has got water in place. So how much do you want to bite off here, right? So again, you're going to play the angle. Um, how much do you really want to challenge that water? Where do you want to be? And then the wind's going to come into play. So if we look at it this way, pretty cool stuff. Let's look at the green again. We'll look closer when we hit the approach. That pin is tucked in that back left corner. With this wind, we're gonna go out here. The wind's gonna blow it back. I'm gonna just fade it a little. But if you hit a bad one like that, you're gonna be in trouble. Oh no. Ugh. Ugh. And yikes. All right, at least it's letting me take the drop here in a fairly reasonable spot. So, you can see the punch bowl kind of moves in, moves back. It's kind of interesting. It's got a drainage point in that back left over there. Because you want to be careful when you're doing these in real life. They do have to drain and have a drainage point, and it's very subtle on some of them. I think the history of it I talked about before is they retained water well, and in the old days, in early days of courses, they wanted that. They wanted the water to maintain the greens because they played in very dry, perhaps locations with a lot of wind. And then, of course, it becomes hard because they retain the water, and you could have puddles on your greens, burned out the grass and stuff. So that's not my forte, the actual growing of the grass and agricultural stuff. But you can imagine those holes were in favor in the old days, and they've fallen out of favor. But with the rebirth of interest in architecture, they're making a little bit of a comeback. All right, 13 is a knoll hole. So a knoll hole, I don't think I've ever done a knoll hole, but basically it's a hill. It's a hole with the green perched on a hill, usually kind of shortish four. You see them as a bunch of different things, but kind of you have that kind of hill perched up there, and it's usually kind of an island's green, not meaning water, meaning it's surrounded by rough. This one has a little bit of an apron in front of it, but it's got a bunker in front. But it's usually it falls off on all sides, right? So it's up on a hill, falls off on all sides around the green, usually surrounded by rough around the whole green. This one doesn't quite have that, but close. But really, it's just a hole perched on a knoll, a green perched on a knoll, as the name suggests. You might see a lot of these without even the intent that it was a knoll hole, because it's a pretty common place to put a green, right? It's not even going to be high enough. Not even close. So these greens, yeah, I only have them. This is the default. It's running at 120. So if you want to crank it up, feel free. It will make it quite interesting. All right, you might recognize this template, folks. It's called the short template. That is what this is called. You're gonna say, "Hey, it's a thumbprint green." Yeah, it's not. The thumbprint isn't the name of the template. Short is. The famous one is, of course, at Sleepy Hollow, that most people recognize, and you might recognize that from my video. That's what I did. I did a commentary on that for making your greens look natural. And we were at Sleepy Hollow for most of that video. Instructionally, same kind of idea here. Shortish 140-yard hole usually with a section that looks like a thumbprint. Of course, you're going to have different places to put that pin. to make it interesting. But one of the reasons I chose the one hole location was, of course, to make sure we were hitting into the thumbprint. Slowed it. I am not doing well on the par threes. It's not going to make it in there. It's going to run off to the side, and we're going to have quite the interesting putt down. Got to get that way up there. Just get it to that hill. Let it feed down. Not much chance of stopping it. So it's a short hole, but you can see you're going to have three putt in the picture quite often if you're not on the correct spot. Simple stuff makes it interesting, right, folks? Okay, this one is not simple stuff. This one is not a template. It is called strategy, and you're going to find out why in a second. Look at this. Okay, you've got so many ways of playing this hole. It's crazy. You've got a hole that's 452 and a series of bunkers. I'm trying not to jump around too much. So I'll stay here, and then hopefully I'll use some graphics instead of bopping this camera around. You've got those fairway bunkers at the top. You could try to carry it with driver. You could try to sneak a driver in on the right side. It depends on the wind, too. Or you can kind of hit a 3-wood out into this section. You've got a series of bunkers over here. On the left, obviously, for those of a lesser ability and lesser carry distance, those can come into play. If you choose to go with the 3-wood or something like this, you can go 3-wood over here. You can hit driver over there. It depends on the wind. Let's take a look at the wind again. I'm going to bounce you around too much. We've got the wind behind us, so we might be able to try to carry it with driver. And that whole location's back left. So with that in mind, I would say today I'm going to go driver. I've played this 3 different ways. 3 different times I've played the course because I've had 3 different winds. I threw a 3-wood out here once. I threw a driver in that corner as well. I had the wind in my face. And then one time I came over here and snuck one in this little corner over here. I'm going to try to carry it with that wind. It should be no problem. And that's going to give us the proper angle in as well. No problem at all this time. But you can see there's going to be a whole different way to play it depending on the wind and where the hole is. That one I actually hit perfect for once. Not bad stuff, huh? Cool hole. Can I make a putt? Still 1 over. Nope. And with these open courses, we've talked about this before, you get the views and you get a feel of playing around the course and really get a feel for the routing, right? Because you get the clubhouse or whatever you have in the distance that really grounds you to where you are. So I think that's cool stuff and overlooked quite often. Sometimes people put dunes and mounds and everything to make it look cool, but you kind of lose the perspective on the rest of the course. Okay. Speaking of this, all right, if you watch my videos at all, you know this. This is probably the most famous template of all, the Redan. This one is running, that's a big slope in the front. So Redans usually run about 210. It's one of the few templates that really, most people stick to that yardage. So it's about a 210 yard hole that's so severely slopes from front right to the back left. It's guarded by a series of bunkers in the front. The key is the green goes at a 45-degree angle to the tee box or the approach. And you've got a bunch of bunkers guarding in the front. So North Berwick 15 is the original. That's the famous one. And I've done a bunch of these. I've featured a bunch of videos with them. You see these all the time. If it goes the other way, it's called a reverse Redan. This time... And the fun is you just kind of have to throw it up on that hill or watch it run down to the hole, depending on where it is. Now, this one's way in the back, so it might have a tough time getting down there. So I'm going to go a little bit more direct for that whole location. But, you know, the various locations are going to be utilized or accessed by using that hill quite often. I was concentrating on that one because I want this putt. Get in. There we go. Needed a bird. Back to even. 2 to go. A 5 and a 4. All right. Very interesting one coming up. 17 is called the long hole. It is 609 yards. We got the wind at our back. Long is a template as well. This plays just like the 14th at St. Andrews. It has a very similar green, so let's go up to the fairway and take a look. Look at that green. Huge slope in the front, so you got to get up that thing. And then you also have, let's go back. You've got those two huge fairway bunkers kind of splitting the hole in half way up there. Really cool stuff, but it's really, really a take on the 14th at St. Andrews. So we're going to go with a little bit of a fade. Look at the beautiful framing of this tee shot over those bunkers. That series of bunkers. Hopefully that bounces to the left, and it's going to bounce to the right, and oh, no. All right, so that's not good, but you're now going to see why those bunkers are a problem for mere mortals. I'll be able to get over them. But, you could see that that's going to present a challenge to, your average, bogey golfer, 18 handicapper. But we don't have that problem here. We're going to go throw a 4-iron. Whoops. Look at the wind. Just throw a 4-iron out there. Hopefully it runs. The little wedge in. Still have a putt at par. 97 yards. Let's see. Take a little off it. A little spin. Slowed it. Pulled it. Well, that's going to work. All right. Still putting for bird. Little double breaker here. Got it. Nice. Okay, I can play a little when I concentrate. But I do enjoy bringing you these videos, so I'm focused on the talking more than the playing. All right. We're coming home, and that's what it is. It's called home. This is a super cool hole as well. Again, back to the theme of, look at the shared fairways. You got fairways abounds, right? You've got 7 over here that you can use, and that's the hog's back. Now you got to be careful because remember the hog's back, it's going to bring you that way, and you're going to have a longer shot in, or it could knock you into those waste bunkers. But again, you see how you kind of have these shared fairways, the shared greens up ahead. Super cool stuff. And let's take a look at, there's the 18th green. Are you kidding me? How cool is that? Okay, so that is definitely a shelf and a half to bring it home. Absolutely fabulous, exciting hole to finish on. Can you imagine this test, in a championship condition back in the day? It must have been absolutely spectacular. So, like I said, if you're a good player, crank up the difficulty, play this course in a match, have fun with it. So if you haven't seen this before and you've watched this video and you enjoyed it, I'm super glad and happy I can bring it to you and bring your attention to how spectacular it is. Don't forget, this was designed by a designer who had to research this from the start. He did not have anything to go on. He did not have LiDAR. He did not have a map. Okay? It's not easy. I'm doing it for a local Donald Ross course here in New England that lost a few holes due to financial difficulties and land sales, and I don't have anything to go on. I'm going on old aerials, and I'm trying to creatively dig up news articles, and I don't even know what the routing was. I'm guessing. Changed that much. I've uncovered 3 lost holes. Really cool stuff, but it's been tedious work that I've enjoyed, for a month. So I can't imagine how much work and effort went into this course. So again, that's why I want to give Peter that shout out. Hickory Ghost, absolutely great job. Thank you for the time and effort you put on this course so we can all enjoy it. Because I'm not going to be in Wisconsin anytime soon. No offense to Wisconsin, folks. Just kind of far away from Massachusetts, and I don't have a reason to be out there. Used to travel to Minnesota on business. That's getting in the ballpark. But not at this current time. Can he end it on a high note? No, he can't. He's going to leave it short. And wind up with a bogey to bring me back to even. But what a tremendous course. So I hope you enjoy it on the casuals. Again, look for it week 5. It's going to be the big weekender. Again, it does not have crowds. It's not T-ready, but executive committee decision. Thank you, Chelsea and Gibb and Mike, for agreeing with me on this one and waiving that T-ready rule for just this instance. All right, I'm going to cut it here, folks, because that was a long one. But I enjoyed it tremendously. Super fun. Hope you love this course as much as I do. I will be back soon. Talk to you soon. If you have anything you want to hear or see out here, drop me a comment. Thank you so much for watching. Bye for now.